Good morning, y'all. Welcome to the Wisconsin Dells. This is one of our favorite places to camp. Really excited to be back here. This time we're actually staying at a new park, though. We are at Jellystone in Wisconsin Dells. This is our third Jellystone. I want to talk about some of the amenities, the campground in general, different things that we've kind of discovered about staying here versus the place that we stayed last time. Give you an overall feel for what you can expect when you do come to Jellystone in Wisconsin Dells. Let's talk briefly about the check-in process. We arrived here at about 5 o'clock in the evening. It was absolutely pouring. They were very nice. The tenant came out with an umbrella, stood over by, put the umbrella over our truck so the water wasn't getting in, checked us in. Really easy to do. Pretty self-explanatory. Down there is also where you can rent golf carts and pick up firewood. The firewood is $10 for a bundle. It is cut extremely thin. It's wet. Would not recommend wasting your money on it. There's places right outside the park you can get it for half the price, and it is dry and ready to burn. So let's talk about the campground a little bit. There are, like most Jellystones, a lot of different ways that you can stay. There's different cabins that you can rent. There are these trailers. They're essentially mobile homes that they've painted that are up for rent as well. This is a unique Jellystone in that there are a lot of tent camping sites going on. More than I've ever seen. We'll show you that in just a second. These are chalets that they have for rent. There's quite a few of these in here, kind of spread throughout. There's one area where there are specifically just these located. Here they do kind of put them in, mix and mingle with the rest of the campers. Again, these little cottages, they're also up for rent. I think they call these lodges. But a lot of different kinds of ways to stay. Skol Vikings. So here you have an area of the bungalows, which you can rent. They are backed up right to the highway. Not sure if you can hear the noise, if it's getting picked up on the mic or not, but again, extremely loud. So here you have a pretty standard lot. It is a back end that is gravel. One thing that we have noticed about this place, well, a couple different things that we've noticed. There are a lot of trees. The branches are relatively low in a lot of these sites. We've seen campers, the branches are touching them when they're all set up. And then also the sites are really shallow. They're not long sites. Again, there are Class A's that are in here that are backed up into the woods. They're pushing trees back because that's the longest sites that they have available. They do not have a lot of pull-throughs. There are a few. Again, they are not luxury by any means. You're camping on gravel. There are some water drainage issues on these sites. They do come with a picnic table and a fire pit, which is nice to have. But again, definitely consider when you're coming here, the site and the location that you're choosing your site, because of the fact, again, the trees are low. There are a lot of issues with people being able to get into the sites. I've seen the staff come around multiple times, pull out the markers so that campers can actually back up into their site in order to get in. So this is our setup. We are in a pull-through on the end of a busy intersection. You can see the trees are very low. When we're pulling in and out, definitely hitting that branch. But just an idea of what the pullout looks like. Not extremely long. Have to really tuck the truck in, but it is an option here. So these are their red carpet lots. These are considered their premium lots. So they are paved lots with a little piece of faded, worn red carpet. I would say an upgraded picnic table, but that's it. They are very tight. Again, that camper could pull forward, but they're backed up into the trees. Another option that you do have here, though. So another option at this Jellystone that I haven't seen at others is that you can actually rent pop-up tents from them. They're set up already. They have air mattresses inside. So you are able to park, unload everything, and camp out with everybody else. All right, so behind me here we have the ranger station, as they call it. It's a long building, has a camp store in there. There's activities in there. There are also 2 rooms with arcades that we'll show you. Pretty standard arcades. Kids definitely enjoy it, obviously. It's cool. It's a nice central location. They also do the hay rides from this location. The hay rides are nice during the day. However, they come around at 10 o'clock at night as well on a hayride, yelling at the top of their lungs, trying to wake people up. That is the goal of the rides. The person that was leading the whole thing last night was actually telling people to yell louder to try to wake people up. Not sure what the point of that is, why they're doing it. Very inconvenient when your kids go to bed early and you're trying to sleep and they're getting woken up by adults and older children screaming at the top of their lungs at 10 o'clock. I would say one thing that is really nice, and again, this kind of holds through with all of the Jellystones, is there are a lot of things for the kids to do. The playground behind me here is the newer playground. It's nice. The kids enjoy playing on it. There are a couple of other playgrounds on site. They're much older, very small. I haven't really seen anybody using them, but this one gets a lot of action. All right here we have the recreation area. Cool in concept. It's where you can go and do different activities. You can make tie-dye shirts, paint. There are games in there. There's giant checkers. There's smaller checkerboards, bean bags, cornhole. The only thing I will say is that most of the activities in there, most of the things that you can go and use are either missing pieces, broken, not actually able to be used in the way that they're supposed to be used. So here we have the main activities area. There's a pool with a water slide. They have basketball. There's a bar and a restaurant. And there's also a splash pad area for younger children. As you can see in the background, and one of the things that we find to be an inconvenience about this is you are right off of the freeway. And you will know that you are right off the freeway the entire time that you're here. It's very loud. It happens day and night. You're always hearing the traffic. Unfortunately, it's just where they built it, but it is something to consider while looking at this park. All right, so behind me here, we have the mini golf course. This is something that we find pretty standard at a lot of the Jellystones. One of the things that is different here that we are, I guess, dissatisfied and unpleased about, they actually charge you just to use this on site. So if you want to play mini golf, compared to every other Jellystone that we've been to where it's included in the price of camping, you have to buy a wristband that's $20 per person in order to play mini golf and rent the boats that they have on site. Not something that we're going to do. We can go play mini golf in town here at the Dells for a lot less than that and a lot better quality. We've also, in general terms of the charging for things, we had some guests that wanted to come and visit us last night. They wanted to charge the guests $10 to come in for a half an hour to sit and just sit and hang out. $10 for a half an hour to come into a campground where you're not going to use a single thing of their facilities. Again, nickel and diming over what? I don't understand that. All right, so I just came down. I'm out for a run and came down to the area where you are able to rent boats. It looks like they have some canoes, kayaks, a couple of paddle boards. The river that this is on is a little bit green in this area. I'm not sure if once you get down, that's going to open up and it's going to clear up. I do know that this river is known for having really cool cliff formations. I believe it's limestone or sandstone, one of those two. I can't remember. But I do think on a nice day, if you could get past all of this green algae that's in the water and get down the river a little bit, probably be a pretty fun thing to do. So one recommendation is drive down to the boat landing if you're going to do it. I know that golf carts are not allowed. I don't think bicycles are allowed. It is downhill. It's a quarter mile downhill. Walking down and up would be obviously very doable, but it's going to be a bit of a chore. So my recommendation is that if you are going to rent a boat, drive down, park, walk a little bit downhill that's left, and you'll be good to go. They do have on-site laundry, which is a nice option that they have to offer. It's $2 for a wash machine, $2 for the dryer. All right, y'all. Well, it is time to do our rating system. If you recall, being that half of the Glamping pals are not here, we are going to slash the scores in half. So instead of being out of 40, where we each get 10 points to allot to amenities, the campgrounds, campsite in general, and family appeal, we are going to be doing it out of a grand total of 20 points for each, so 60 points for all three combined. Starting with amenities, what do you think for amenities?
For amenities on this one, I gave it a 5. The kids really liked the water slide at the pool. They had one good playground and the splash pad area. Also, the arcade is always a hit with the boys, even though obviously there's an extra charge for that. Didn't go higher in this case because they also have canoes, kayaks, and mini golf on site at this campground, but you have to pay extra for all of that. And I don't love, with the cost of this campground being what it is, having to pay extra for something as menial as mini golf. They were charging $20 per person for unlimited mini golf and boat usage, or I think it was like $8 a person to play mini golf. I just think for paying for the campground and the amenities, something like mini golf should have been included.
Yeah, and I agree with everything you just said. I gave it a 6 out of a possible 10. Just to add on some things, they did have a lot of activities, which were nice for the kids. They also had an activity center. My issue with that is that there were a lot of missing pieces for the games. So our youngest and I were trying to play checkers. They didn't have all the checkers pieces to even play the game. One of the other issues that I had was that I showed you a video of earlier. They have a late night hayride where they were literally trying to wake everybody up. I have an issue with that when we have younger kids. I don't need grown adults going around on a hayride at 9, 10 o'clock at night screaming at the top of their lungs trying to wake everybody up. So for that, I gave it a 6. So out of a possible 20, we gave it 11 out of a possible 20. Moving on for the campsites and the campground in general, what do you think about that?
Campsite, sorry guys, I gave it a 2. This campground, which we knew when we booked it, it was right next to the freeway. I was hoping that the trees in between the freeway and the campsite would have offered a little bit more of a noise barrier. There was no noise barrier. It was loud. I woke up multiple times per night, even with a white noise machine on while we were sleeping because of the road noise. So that was for me a really big bummer. And then just the fact, I mean, we're big rig people. We've got a big camper, but this campground, the vast majority was tiny homes, yurts, and tents. There were some campground, sites. Obviously, the vast majority of them were pretty sloped. The motorhomes had their wheels off the ground, just trying to get level. Our particular campsite was a pull through, but it was not paved. It was gravel. The trees were hanging so low over the top of the camper. There was literally a pine tree branch touching one of our air conditioners while we were parked. And again, second time, same trip, the Jellystone does not mow. So the grass at our site was at least this long. And it had rained a couple of times. Our fire ring was in a big puddle.
Yeah,
Just
not usable.
not usable, just too wet. So it just needs a lot of maintenance, some mowing and some major tree trimming. And even the sites that were back ends were so sloped that I don't even think they would have been any better than the pull through. Then we go to leave and you book a pull through so you can just zip out of there, and we had to back into an empty space behind us just to get enough clearance to get out of the narrow roads. I get it because it's an older campground, but for people with a big rig, it was a tough site.
Yeah, I agree. I gave it a 3 out of possible 10, and a lot of the same issues. As the driver, very hard to navigate through the park. The roads are narrow. And again, I actually spoke with the general manager of the park, and he let me know the park was built in the 70s before campers this size were even in existence. So I understand some of the limitations that they do have in that regard. I do think they could do a better job, however, of trimming branches, for example.
Or mowing the grass would
Mowing
have
the
been
grass would be
huge.
nice. The other issue that I have is because of the fact that the roads are so narrow and it gets so busy on the weekends, there are a lot of people parking their cars in the short lots, kind of out in the roads a little bit. So it was very difficult for a lot of rigs that we saw trying to leave or come in to even navigate to their spot, to even begin the process of attempting to back into their spot. Just not a lot of wiggle room in the park, very, very tight. And again, the maintenance is one of the big things, the fire pit and just the
Mm-hmm.
general maintenance. It showed its age. So we've stayed at 3 Jellystones. We are, I would say, on a hit rate of 1 out of 3 so far.
And not, for nothing on that, but we've never been asked at any of the campgrounds that we've ever been to for like our tag. They give you the tag for your truck. We put it on the dash or hanging or whatever. And we've never really been asked for any of that, but we pulled in the other day And some lady on a golf cart was driving around like, "Where's your tag?" And it
With
was
the security shirt
with
on.
the security shirt. It was in our truck. I'm like, "Do you need me to get it out of the truck to show it to you?" And she's like, "No, but you need it displayed." And it was displayed. You know, we're generally rule followers, but
We're
we
a bit
don't.
higher than a golf cart. Like you
Yeah,
can't see it from the golf cart that it's on the dash.
we don't go on vacation to be kind of micromanaged by people when we're not breaking any rules. We had family friends of ours stop by for a half hour at our campfire, and they were being asked to pay, you know, just to enter for a half hour. And then they said that's ridiculous. So they said, okay, you can only stay for 30 minutes. You know, I want to say I don't have my sheet in front of me, but for 4 nights, I think we paid over $650 for this site. And for me, the value is very, very poor.
Agreed 100%. It seemed like we were getting nickel and dime for a lot of things. And again, trying to charge somebody and limiting the amount of time that they can then come in and visit somebody, no thanks. All right, last one, family appeal. So the general overall, if you bring your family, what's the appeal for the kids, the adults as a whole? What do you think out of a possible 10?
So I did give it an 8 out of 10, largely due to the location and the amenities that Wisconsin Dells has to offer. We could spend days and days and days there just hopping from one thing to the next. There's so much fun things to do for kids, so many fun things to do for kids and families. Love Wisconsin Dells in general, not to say a different campground might have the same family appeal with a better campsite. But just in general, this park also, my kids did love the pool and the water slide and the playground, and we had a lot of fun. So, you know, for that reason, I did give them a good score.
Agree 100%. I gave it an 8 as well. When it comes down to it, the kids love the park. They don't think about the things that we think about, obviously. They're not supposed to. They want to go to some place that has a lot going on, a lot of different things they can do. There was the park, the pool, the splash pad, the activities. So for them, a lot to do. And if my kids are happy, generally speaking, we're going to be pretty happy too. So for family appeal, I'd say 8 out of 10, really good. And again, the other thing too, you don't go to these parks in this area to sit at the park. You go because of the proximity to all of the activities in the Wisconsin Dells, the boats, the river in general, the water parks, the theme parks, restaurants, everything that's in town is why you're there. And obviously they offer a lot in the area. So I would say 8 out of 10, pretty high for that park.
Next time we return to the Wisconsin Dells, last year we stayed at Sherwood Forest with our travel trailer. And just a quick note on that, if you're saying, okay, well, this doesn't sound great, but I do want to go to the Wisconsin Dells, we decided if or when we go back to Wisconsin Dells, we'll probably head back to Sherwood Forest. It's closer to some of the bigger water parks that we liked. One thing to note there with a big rig, which we didn't have at the time, but now the sites that are in the back at Sherwood Forest, you have to go up a super steep hill, like crazy steep, to get to the back of the park. But they do have big rig friendly sites at the front of the park that we looked up just online the other night. That one wasn't necessarily luxury or amazing either, but
I wouldn't say it's any different. I'd say it's extremely comparable.
Comparatively, and the price was almost half of what the Jellystone was, and the location was better. We decided we would go back to Sherwood versus go back to the Jellystone.
Yep. So out of a possible 60, we gave Jellystone and the Wisconsin Dells 32 out of 60. Again, you're going there because of the fact that the location is nice. There are things to do for the kids, but there are a lot of limitations. You have to very much plan out once you get there, how to get into your site, how to get out of your site. There's a lot to navigate. Again, the park showed its age quite a bit. And for that reason, we gave it a 32 out of 60.
Last note, I know I'm talking too much, but this is awesome. I ended up booking most of this trip. I think it was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And I ended up getting Mount Olympus tickets, which is the outdoor water park and theme park, for $5 per person, which I originally thought would be like a miscommunication of some kind on my part. But when we got there, not the case. It was actually indeed $20 plus tax for the four of us to go for the day to Mount Olympus. And I think it's typically like $38 a person, so that's huge. So watch out for those sales. I also got a deal, I don't remember what the price was, at Noah's Ark Water Park at the same time frame, and also booked a couple other Jellystone, the Cave City Jellystone and this Jellystone at the same time, which had discounted rates. So if you are looking to book that type of a trip, keep in mind that there will be some deals.
Really good deal. Really good deal.
Steal of a deal.
All right, y'all. Well, appreciate you all watching. Please make sure that you like, share, subscribe, comment if you have any questions or concerns about anything. Love to hear from y'all. And remember, life's always better with a good campfire, great company. See you at the next campsite. Hey, cheers.